21st April 2019. 6 near simultaneous explosions rocked hotels and churches during Easter Mass. Negombo, Batticaloa and Kochikade were in the middle of one of the worst terror attacks that Sri Lanka had witnessed. The Shangri-La, Kingsbury and Cinnamon Grand hotels in Colombo were also targeted. More than 260 people killed. 42 foreign tourists from 14 countries, including India, UK, Denmark, Portugal, Japan, Spain and the US, were among the victims. Hundreds of families went into mourning.
I'm sure you all got shocked by the video you just watched. This day was the most scariest day in my life. Being a student of a Catholic school, lot of people we knew got hurt that day. It was a total nightmare. Every time our phone rang, we were afraid that it could be some bad news about someone we loved and cared. From that day, this incident was lingering in my mind. I wanted to find a way to stop such incidents from happening and find a way to help people when something like this happens again. But I was too small. But now I think I have found some ways to help people in such situations. So here I am presenting my e-Triage, threat identification and hospital emergency code system. My name is Riyanvindala Garusinghe from Sri Lanka. I'm 8 years old. I won the second runners-up title in Group 1 category of Code Ever 2020 edition. Let's see what's triage tagging. A mass casualty incident is when a lot of people get hurt at the same time. If a lot of people get wounded, the hospital cannot treat everyone because they have limited resources. So we need to identify who needs to be treated first. This is what they do. When the mass casualty incident happens, the medics come to the incident site to help the wounded. They label them according to how badly wounded they are. This is called triage tagging. Here, the medics are finding answers to a set of questions about the wounded person's condition. Let me tell you, these are the questions that the paramedics ask. If the victim can walk, they send him to the green category. If the victim can't walk, they check if he can breathe. If he cannot breathe, they open the airway. Then they check if he's breathing again. If he's no, they send him to the black category. Black means they are dead. If they are breathing, they send him to the red category. Let's go back to the main breathing. If they are breathing after they check they can walk, they check how many breaths they take for 1 minute. Usually it has to be less than 30. If it's more than 30, they send them to the red category. If it's less than 30, they take their pulse. If the pulse is there, If the pulse is not there, they send them to the red category again. And if they are conscious, if their pulse is present, they send them to the, they check if they have consciousness, they check if they are responsive to a question. If it's no, they send them to red category again. If it's yes, they send them to the yellow category. Let me explain what are the priority levels are. These are the priority levels. Red color coded people are life-threatening illness, so they send them first to the hospital. Yellow coded people are serious but not life-threatening, so they send them second to the second after the red people go to the hospital. The green color coded people have minor injuries, so they wait until the red and yellow color coded people go to the hospital. So after the green, they check about the black color coded people because they're already dead or brain dead. Let me tell you the triage tags, about the triage tags. This is the triage tag that people use now. As you can see, it's just a piece of paper. The medics have to write with pens here. Let me tell you about the drawbacks of the present triage system. These are the drawbacks. For the first drawback is they cannot continuously monitor the patient's condition. They do not show the current priority based on the updated medical condition. For example, a patient marked as yellow could have turned to a red, could have turned into a immediate care needed status after the doctor checked him and tagged him. But the ambulance will think he's still a yellow tagged patient. A patient tagged red could have been dead while waiting for the ambulance, but the ambulance will transport him as a priority case without knowing that he's already dead. That time and resources could have been used to save another patient in critical condition. Another drawback is triage officers spend much time writing with pens in the triage tag. Let me tell you my solution for all of this. My solution is e-Triage, a device used by medics to record patient statistics with a single button click. The device can show the priority level in appropriate colored LEDs. Not only the priority level, but the reason for belonging to that priority level can be identified using secondary line of neopixel lights. Assuming that a patient's pulse rate is the most critical indicator to monitor his condition, this device monitors the pulse with a pulse sensor attached to each triage tag device. It will show the updated priority based on the pulse rate. This is my e-Triage system. First line of LEDs is the answer to that question he gave. The second line of LEDs is the priority level. I will explain it after I demonstrate my system. Let me show you how it works. So for now I'm going to demonstrate my e-Triage system. So when the doctor comes and checks the first patients, he asks if he can walk. I'm gonna enter that he can. So then all the lights turn green. Now when all the lights turn green, they don't have to send him to the hospital because they don't have a serious injury. So the doctor goes to the next patient. So as last time, the first question is if he can walk. This time I'm going to enter no. So the next I entered no. So the doctor asked the next question if he can breathe. So I'm going to enter yes. So the next question is if how many breaths he takes for 1 minute. I'm gonna enter, it usually is below 30. So I'm gonna enter it is below 30. So the next question is what is his pulse rate. The pulse rate has to be between 50 and 120. So I'm gonna enter it in between that. So for the last question, if he is conscious, so I'm gonna enter yes. This person's color code is yellow. The only problem he had was he could not walk. So the doctor went on to the third patient. He cannot walk. He cannot breathe. And he could breathe after they give him the airway management. The color code is red because he needs immediate medical attention. When the doctor sees the first line, he knows the patient can't walk, he could not breathe. After the airway management, he could only breathe. So the doctor moved on to the fourth patient. The fourth patient could not walk, he could not breathe, and he could not breathe after the airway management. So his color code is black. Because I cannot display black, I have used blue. So the doctor moved on to the fifth patient. The fifth patient could not walk, but he could breathe, and he took more than 30 breaths for 1 minute. This has turned to red. That means he needs immediate medical attention. My e-Triage system has a built-in pulse sensor. I have taken, for example, this patient could not walk and could not breathe, but after the airway management, he could breathe. So that's why he needs immediate medical attention. So during the time he waits for the ambulance, we can check his pulse using my pulse sensor. If the pulse is not in range, they turn it to red, and if the pulse is in range, they turn it to green. Then they turn it to green. Let me demonstrate. So there is no pulse reading, so it shows red. So now I'm going to put my finger in the sensor, and it's going to check my pulse. So once I put my finger, it turns to green. Now I'm going to remove my finger. It will take some time for it to regenerate. Now it's turning to red. Let me tell you about my threat identification system. When the Easter attack happened, the terrorists had planned a secondary bomb near the St. Andrew's Church, Colombo, targeting the people who gathered to help the wounded after the first bomb went off. Luckily, it didn't go off, so I made a bomb detector robot car to search the area of the bomb before going near it. So this is my bomb detector robot. So once it comes near the metal, it beeps. Beeping because of the metal underneath. All the East attack bombs were brought inside in backpacks by the terrorists. So I made a system to identify the threats using object detection and machine learning. Using the system, we could identify the people carrying backpacks, and then those people's photos will be checked in with the terrorist databases recorded in the police station. I told you all the Easter bombers brought the bombs in bags. So this system checks if people with bags. If I'm wearing a backpack, it's going to check my picture under the police database. Assuming I'm a bomber, assuming I'm in the police database, I train my picture into the teachable machine. Let me share my screen and demonstrate. As you can see, the video is on. Now it's going to check if I have wearing a backpack.
Alert. Terrorist Rion is matching with suspect with backpack.
As you can see, it works perfectly. Let me tell you about my hospital call system. Although it's nothing to do with a mass casualty incident, I have built a model hospital and automated a few hospital emergency situations. Code red. The first situation code is code red. The code red is fire. Is when a fire is there. In code red, I have used LED lights to guide them to the nearest exit. The next code is code blue. Code blue is medical emergency. They light up the room where all the doctors stay, so that they come, and the bed, so that they know which bed to come to. Let me tell you about code pink. The next code is code pink. Code pink is for child abduction. If somebody takes a child or a child gets missing, they could activate code pink. In code pink, the whole hospital gets shut down. All windows, all doors, all exits, all of them gets locked. The next code is code silver. Code silver is when a person with a weapon is there. Here I have used object detection to identify a person with a weapon, and the control room is notified so that they could call the code before someone gets hurt. This is my emergency hospital code system. This is the ETU, this is the OPD, this is the ward, and this is the nursing station, and this is the operation theatre. Let me show you how it works. I'm activating code red. Code red is for fire. In code red, they show you to the nearest exits and blink and blink the whole hospital. So now I'm going to activate code blue. Once you activate code blue, it doesn't light up. You have to enter a bed number, then only will it light up. I'm going to enter bed number 3. Now I'm going to activate code pink. Code pink is for a child abduction. So in code pink, they close the gate and light up the whole hospital. Not only after the code pink is deactivated, the gate opens again. Now I'm going to activate code silver. In code silver, the whole hospital light blink, but not in the operation theatre, because if there's ongoing operation, the operation will be disturbed. Code silver is usually activated when a weapon is identified. Usually, when a person with a weapon is identified, it is after the person has already attacked someone. So, in my system, it could identify the person with a weapon before he attacks someone. It's going to take a little time to process.
Possible suspect with knife identified in camera 1. Possible suspect with knife identified in camera 1.
This is the code I have done for the e-Triage system. Let me share my screen. So this is the code I have done for the e-Triage system. So this is the code for my hospital emergency call system. Because I have a lot of components in my system, I do not have enough time to explain all of this, because I have a lot of explaining to do. So I will just show you it. This is the code I have done for the threat identification using object detection and machine learning. This is the code I have done for code silver threat identification using object detection. Thank you for watching my video. I dedicate my project to all those beautiful lives lost in the Easter attack.